Obsidian's dark victory ritual, taking men's manhoods, until the human came along. Chapter 1. The harvest begins. The planet Zypharian was a world of perpetual twilight, its skies stained violet by the twin suns that never fully set. The air was thick with the scent of metallic rain, and the towering obsidian spires of the Zyphari dominion loomed over the landscape like jagged teeth. For centuries, the Zyphari had ruled with an iron grip, their dominance unchallenged. But their power was not just political, it was biological. Every cycle, when the moons aligned, the Zyphari warriors embarked on their sacred rite of ascension. The ritual was simple, brutal, and humiliating for their enemies. Zyphari females, towering and sleek with iridescent blue skin and elongated limbs, would hunt down the strongest males of conquered species. Their prize, the very essence of their masculinity. Commander Vexera, the High Huntress, led the ritual with ruthless efficiency. Her latest conquests had been the warriors of the Krell, a proud reptilian race. One by one she had taken them, her razor-sharp talons extracting what she desired before discarding their broken bodies. The Krell males, once fierce, now shuffled in chains, hollow shells of their former selves. Pathetic, Vexera hissed, her voice a melodic yet chilling whisper. None of them last. None of them resist. Her second-in-command, Xeris, bowed. The legends spoke of a species called humans. They are said to possess unnatural resilience. Vexera's lips curled into a predatory smile. Then we shall test them. Chapter 2. The human arrives. The human was not what Vexera expected. His name was Captain Marcus Drake, a former soldier from Earth's now-defunct Colonial Defense Force. He had been captured after his ship was disabled near Zypharian's orbit. Unlike the others, he did not cower. He stood tall, his green eyes burning with defiance. "You're making a mistake," Drake said, his voice steady. Vexera circled him, her talons tracing the air near his throat. "You are the mistake, human. Your kind should never have crossed into our territory." Drake smirked. "Yeah. Well, here I am." The Zyphari females gathered in the grand arena, their eerie chants filling the air. The ritual began. Vexera lunged, her claws flashing toward Drake's groin. But he moved faster. Twisting, he caught her wrist and slammed her onto the ground. The crowd gasped. No male had ever fought back. Vexera snarled, her pride wounded. "You dare resist?" Drake grinned. "Lady, you have no idea what you're dealing with." Chapter 3. The Battle of Wills. The fight that followed was unlike anything the Zyphari had witnessed. Drake was relentless. He dodged, countered, and struck with precision. The Zyphari females, used to easy prey, struggled against his raw strength and cunning. Vexera, furious, activated her bioelectric whip. The crackling energy lashed out, searing Drake's skin. He gritted his teeth but didn't fall. "You're strong," she admitted. "But you will break like the others." Drake wiped blood from his lip. "I don't break." The battle raged. Blow after blow, neither yielding. The crowd, once jeering, now watched in stunned silence. Then Drake saw his opening. He feinted left, then slammed his fist into Vexera's stomach. She staggered, gasping. Before she could recover, he grabbed her by the throat and pinned her against the arena wall. The entire Dominion held its breath. Chapter 4. The ritual reversed. Vexera's eyes widened as Drake leaned in. His voice a low growl. "You take from men to prove your strength. That's not strength. That's fear." She struggled, but his grip was iron. Then something unexpected happened. A ripple of Arousal coursed through her. No male had ever dominated her before. The sensation was intoxicating. Drake saw the shift in her gaze. He smirked. "Oh, you like this, don't you?" Vexera's breath hitched. She had spent centuries humiliating males. Now, for the first time, she was the one exposed. The crowd murmured. The ritual had never ended like this. Chapter 5. A New Order. In the aftermath, everything changed. Vexera, humiliated yet fascinated, spared Drake's life. The other Zifiri females, intrigued by his defiance, began questioning their traditions. Drake, now a reluctant legend, was given a choice: die as a prisoner, or rule as a consort. He chose the latter, but on his terms. The right of ascension was abolished. The Zifiri dominion, for the first time in history, faced a male who could not be broken. And Vexera. She found herself craving something she never expected: submission. As Drake stood atop the obsidian spire, looking down at the planet he had conquered without firing a single shot, he chuckled. Guess humanity's not so weak after all. Epilogue. The reign of the unbroken. The halls of the Zifiri dominion, once echoing with the chants of victorious females, now thrummed with a new energy. Uncertainty. The obsidian walls, which had stood for millennia as monuments to Zifiri supremacy, now bore witness to a revolution. Captain Marcus Drake, the human who had defied the impossible, stood beside Vexera on the high balcony, overlooking the gathered masses. The crowd was a sea of iridescent blue skin and gleaming eyes, but their expressions were no longer smug. They were curious. Vexera, her once unshakable confidence fractured, turned to him. "You have undone centuries of tradition in a single night," she murmured. "Do you understand what you've done?" Drake crossed his arms, his gaze steady. "I didn't come here to break your culture. Just to prove that strength isn't about taking. It's about endurance." A murmur spread through the crowd. The defeated Krell warriors, once broken, now stood a little taller. The Zifiri females, who had never known defeat, exchanged glances. Some were furious, others intrigued. Xeris, Vexera's second, stepped forward. The right of ascension was sacred. Without it, what defines us? Drake smirked. Maybe you find something better. The new ritual. In the weeks that followed, the Dominion changed. The arenas, once stages for humiliation, became grounds of true combat, tests of skill, not dominance. Males of all species were no longer prey, but opponents to be respected. Some Zifiri females resisted, clinging to the old ways, but the shift had already begun. And Vexera. She found herself drawn to Drake in ways she couldn't explain. She had spent centuries believing males existed only to be conquered, yet here was one who had conquered her. The thought should have enraged her. Instead, it ignited something primal. One night, she confronted him in his chambers. "You humiliated me before my people," she said, her voice low. Drake raised an eyebrow. "And?" Her claws flexed. "I should kill you for it." He didn't flinch. "You could try." A tense silence stretched between them. Then with a growl she pounced, not to attack but to claim. What followed was nothing like the cold, calculated rituals of the past. It was raw, real. And for the first time in her life, Vexera understood what it meant to lose control. The final triumph. Years later, the Zifiri dominion was no longer an empire built on subjugation. Under Drake's influence, they became something far more dangerous. United. The Krell, once slaves, now stood as allies. Other species, hearing of the human who had tamed the Zifiri, came to test their strength. Some won, some lost, but none were broken. And Vexera. She ruled at Drake's side, not as a conqueror, but as an equal. The rite of ascension was forgotten, replaced by something far more powerful: mutual respect. As Drake stood on the balcony once more, watching the twin suns set over Zypharian, Vexera slid a clawed hand around his waist. "You never told me," she murmured. "If you planned this from the beginning." He chuckled. "Nah. I just didn't like losing." He smirked. "Neither did I." And for the first time in Zyphari history, a high huntress laughed, freely without cruelty.